Starting with Mr. Moore, who do you think is more of a threat to the black community? Citizens or the police?
Wow, that's a tough one. I think that it's hard to actually constrain my answer to either the citizen or the police, the citizens as a group or the police. I think the biggest threat to the black community here is persistent poverty, lower educational attainment, economic inequalities that constantly breed crime and despair, hopelessness, and things like that. And when people are in great moments of despair and hopelessness, they don't feel that they have any opportunity. They're just living for the moment. Then they're inclined to engage in antisocial behavior, i.e., crime, and other types of personal behavior that is not conducive to their own growth and success, and also not conducive to the community's growth, success, and prospering.
Thank you. Mr. Royal, the same question. Who do you think is more of a threat to the black community? Citizens or the police? And again, it doesn't have to be so dichotomous, it's just your personal perspective.
Well, the perspective that it was framed, I think, is the correct one. And let me read a quote from you. The American people have to learn when justice is denied, where poverty is enforced, where ignorance prevails, and when any one class is made to feel that society is an organized conspiracy to oppress and degrade them, neither person nor property will be safe. That was Frederick Douglass in the 1800s. He understood that violence doesn't make poverty. Poverty makes violence. And we've seen this throughout history. After the Depression, there was this huge rage of gangsters during Prohibition that made millions of dollars in a violent manner. In 1968, the Kerner Commission, this was a commission that was convened by President Lyndon Johnson because rioting was breaking out. And they wanted to know why rioting was breaking out in the African American communities. And they came back and stated that America was moving towards two societies, one black, one white, separate and unequal. And I would say that same society is being perpetuated today here in Milwaukee. We have hyper-segregation, the highest rate of hyper-segregation across the nation. We have black male incarceration, the highest rate in the world. We have unemployment of individuals from 25 to 54 at 39.9%. We have poverty rates of 23.3%. We have schools that are 90-90, that they're 90% minority and 90% of the students receive free lunches because they qualify. Now the Kerner Commission came back in 1968 and said to fix this, let's create jobs. Let's construct new housing. Let's stop de facto segregation. Let's hire a diverse and sensitive police force. Let's open suburban residential areas to minorities. The same issues we're dealing with today, 50 years ago, they were dealing with. Now everybody just watched the screen adaptation of Selma, the anniversary of crossing the Edmund Pettit Bridge that led to the voting rights, right? Common got these great awards for the song that he wrote, right? but that bridge is still named after Edmund Pettus. Edmund Pettus was a Grand Duke of the Ku Klux Klan. The folks that were terrorists hanging our people. You ever heard the song called Strange Fruit? It was developed, it was a song that was talking about how white folks would hang African Americans. And this group, this terrorist group of the Ku Klux Klan are the biggest perpetrators of those hangings. And you would think, if you're gonna honor a people, you're gonna honor an event, they would have at least changed the name of people who wanted their right to vote so bad that they were beaten to death to cross it, to at least change the name from a Ku Klux Klan terrorist. We talk about ISIS being terrorists today. Ku Klux Klan were terrorists back in the day against African Americans. So it's not that we as a people are a threat to each other, as it is that there are systematic policies in place that are more dangerous to us. Because when something goes wrong in my life, if somebody breaks into my house, if someone threatens me, I want the police department to be there to protect me. But back in the day when I was growing up, we had community policing policies in place, meaning that I knew the police officer, Mr. Jordan, on my block. He gave us baseball cards. There was a police athletic league. But now we've gone to this broken windows theory that we're going to stop small crimes before they become big crimes. So now we live in an occupied state by the police department. I go down the street and see brothers handcuffed sitting on the curb, just being questioned for their identity. Where you going? Where you been? That shouldn't be. We've had cases of 60 individuals who have been illegally strip searched in the streets. And women, I can't think of anything more demeaning than to have some individual stick his hands down my pants to search for anything. You don't have a right. Constitutionally, it's not right. They're in violation of the Constitution. Now, don't get me wrong. I don't want to see any of you young ladies and young men be placed in a situation in which you may lose your life because of your resisting arrest. So be mannerable. Tell them your name. Tell them your address. Tell them who you are, where you're going, where you've been. Get their name. Report the incident. But in my opinion, it's the policies that are in place that are more of a threat to our community than any police officer or any individual.
I agree with that wholeheartedly. I agree with everything that he said.
At this point, ladies and gentlemen, if you would like to pose some questions, Daquan.
Like when he said how like they always been questioning on handcuffs and getting questioned without, but like it's a lot of that, and like you gotta think like people are people, so you got people with different personalities. You have good people and bad people. You have both joining the police, you know, so they think they doing something good, but their mentality is bad though. So like if they go about stuff the wrong way, they might have both bipolar issues that they don't know about. Right. So it's like you don't know what at the end of the day what people be thinking. Like the dude get on the news, he just snapped out and killed 4 people or shot 4 people for no reason. Like you don't know what people gonna do.
Right. There is a lot of mental health issues. Let me say this, guys. I'm no different than you all. I had a lot of breaks in my life. I got some really good breaks. Things broke well for me. Opportunities, doors were open for me. I could have gone the other way. I was no angel as a kid, okay? I used to think that I had the meanest mother in the world. And I later, after I lost my beautiful mother to cancer, realized, how much she cared and loved me. Because what happened is that I was on lockdown. My mother told me that she was not going to let me, fall to the streets, be a victim of the streets. She was not going to lose me. She said that she put in, my mother was a school secretary for the Milwaukee public school system for 28 years before she contracted and died from lung cancer, even though she never smoked. And she told me that she wasn't going to lose me. Everybody on my block, I grew up on 14th and Keith Avenue, right about 6 doors down from the Bungalow restaurant. And we had opportunities. We used to go to Incarnation Church on 15th and Keith Avenue, and they sent us. I was in 4-H, and let's see, was it 3 summers? I was sent up north where I stayed with families. They were in farming communities. We stayed 3-4 days with families, saw them milking cows and everything, ate breakfast with them. This is way up north with white families. I just thought that they were just some really nice people. But what I did not know back then was that Incarnation Church, which still sits on 15th and Keith Avenue, and it's a Lutheran church, was doing missionary work. But because everything that we did, when I would visit these families, me and my brother would go up, everything they did always came back to Christian values and God, okay? We read the Bible, everything like that. But what was happening is they were indoctrinating us, and they were imbuing us with Christian values, morals, and things like that. And they were taking, and this is around the time that 1968, when the Kerner Commission was going on, where they were researching. Congress was researching all of these racial problems and all the riots going on in the late 60s, around the time that Dr. King was assassinated. And what was happening is that the churches were reaching out to all of these urban youth, because all we knew is the urban jungle. All we knew is concrete. And that's why to this day I have a wonderful appreciation for